Hello. This video is a VR to the Meager Inn. Chris had I watched his last video and his that he made yesterday and was wanting a VR about some stories that about I don't know, friends and bars and stuff like that. So Chris, here we go. Let me light up this little pipe first. I'm smoking some autumn evening. And this little bitty Peterson pipe, it's a little bitty thing. It's a little rusticated pipe. It's a little special edition. Pretty neat little pipe. But so for his VR and the little giveaway he's doing, which I'm just having fun doing the video and telling the story. If I win, that's great. If not, it's no big deal either. I'm not doing it for the competition per se. But hey, you know what? If I win, I win. But you want to know? He's telling a story about him being with his buddies at a bar when he was in college, and getting. One of his friends getting into a fight or somebody getting into a fight, and then he got dragged into it and got punched and things like that. Well, I've got a story similar, but it's not exactly the same. I went to the University of Tennessee, and me and my buddies had been. If you don't know the University of Tennessee, there's a road that goes straight through almost the middle of campus, all the way down to downtown, actually, but campuses on both sides. There's one little section about 4 or 5 blocks long, which we called the Strip. It had a lot of bars and things on there on both sides. You could just go from bar to bar. It was great. There was a whole bunch, a whole bunch of bars that you could go to in one night. You could hit them all. I think there was 6 or 7 of them. And so that night, the night that I'm talking about, we decided that there wasn't really anything good going on at the Strip, so we went down to a bar west of town and had been out there. It was probably, we had to drive, and it was, 6-7 miles away from campus. Not too far, but sorry, I want to get this good and lit. But so we drove down. I think the bar that we went to was having some kind of a special that night. And being the poor college kids we were, decided, hey, let's go down there instead. So that's what we did. It was a rather easy night at the bar. Nothing happened. Nothing great. We did like we normally do and closed it down. And so I was riding with my roommate. He had this little Mazda pickup truck. Again, this was the late 80s, early 90s. I think it was probably 90, if I think. I can't remember if it was our sophomore or junior year. I think it was sophomore year. Or no, junior year. I can't remember. I don't know. It was either 89 or 90. Anyway. We were coming home, and we were driving after drinking, which I'm not condoning that at all. That is not something I do now. But back then, just to be fair, this was, like I said, it was the 80s or late 80s, early 90s. Drinking and driving wasn't handled the same then as it is now. Okay, I'm not saying this is a good thing, but I'm just saying it was handled different. If you got pulled over while you were drinking, most of the time you just got asked if you were drinking, and if you said yes, they just told you to slow down and be careful and get home. Nowadays it's a lot bigger deal, which I understand. I'm not condoning it, but it was just handled a lot different. So we're going home, and well. And I'm riding in the passenger seat of a little pickup truck. My buddy's driving, and we get cut off by these guys in this other. I don't know what kind of car. I think it was a Chevy Malibu, and that's what it was. And I'll tell you why in just a second. But we got cut off, being in the state we were in. We catch up to them. We're sitting at a red light. My buddy rolls down his window on the driver's side, gets the other guy on the passenger side of the car to roll down his window, and says something derogatory about the car and his mother, which that never turns out great. So about the time he gets through with this cut down about the car and his mother, we take off. Light turns green, off we go. Well, they didn't take too kindly of what he said, so we're flying down the road. I say flying. We're probably going about, the speed limit was, I think, 40 on this road, or 45, and we were probably going 55 or 60. There wasn't much traffic out. It was late at night. Well, they get beside us, and they're shooting us birds and everything else and cussing us, and we're doing right back to them. And I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and we're screaming at each other and laughing, and my roommate and I are just laughing at each other, trying to think of every cut down we can, and these guys, I don't know, they look to be probably our age or maybe a little bit younger. All of a sudden, I look over, and this guy has a beer can in his hand in the passenger seat of the car. Well, before I didn't know what he's going to do with it. He throws it. And this thing, again, we're going down the road. We're moving at the time at a pretty good clip. Well, this thing is like the magic bullet that assassinated JFK. Somehow, that thing went out his window, and we were, 3 or 4 feet apart, the two cars were, inside the driver's side window, and it does not hit my buddy, and I'm turned facing my buddy, facing the car. Next thing I know, all of a sudden I feel some pain on my nose. and then I was wet. And I'm thinking, what just happened? It kind of shocked me. Next thing I know, I'm smelling beer, and then I'm tasting blood. And my roommate looks over at me. He kind of hits the brakes. These guys, you can hear them laughing. He hit the gas and took off. My buddy kind of hits the brakes, slows down a little bit, looks over at me, and starts cracking up laughing. I'm kind of laughing too, because I still don't know what happened. Everything happened so fast. Well, the beer can went through the window, hits me in the face, explodes on impact, hits me right in the bridge of the nose. I didn't wear glasses at the time. I don't wear glasses now. These are just readers. But hits me in the bridge of the nose and just explodes. I guess he shook it up first or whatever. I don't think he was trying to throw it inside the truck. But of course, the beer explodes, and so there's beer everywhere on the inside of the windshield, on my window, all over me, all over my roommate. And he's just cracking up laughing. Of course, I look in the mirror. I pull the shade down, the visor, and look at his mirror. My nose just bleeding. Just bleeding all over the place. And of course, there's nothing in the truck. Again, we're college kids. I think I found like an old used paper towel on the floorboard and was wiping my nose. All the time, we're still moving. And so we get up to a red light that was red. And guess what? Knoxville police. Or police, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sound like a redneck there. But Knoxville police pulls up next to us. And they see me with the thing in my nose. And they see all the car just inside of it with beer. They didn't say anything, but there was 2 officers in the car. and just kept, and we were trying to keep a straight face. I'm laughing at this point because I thought it was, I mean, it was incredible. I mean, it was like, how in the world did that hit me like that? And how in the world did it explode and us have beer all over us? Well, the two officers just kept staring at us, knowing that something was up, knowing that we did something or we're doing something wrong. Thank goodness the light turns green. We take off at a normal speed, but they they don't take off at first, and so we take off, and the next thing we know, we're a couple hundred feet up the road, and they get behind us, and so now we're starting to get a little worried. I mean, again, we don't have any alcohol in the car. We drank it all before we left the bar, but nothing really happened. They just followed us all the way back to our apartment, which we lived on the other side of campus. But they followed us back to the apartment, not all the way up to the apartment, but to the apartment entrance, and then we just went on. Well, the next day, of course, my other roommates in the apartment who didn't go with us, we were telling them the story and laughing about it and everything else. And the next day, I wake up, and I've got 2 black eyes. My nose, luckily, didn't break. I thought it was. It hurt. It had a cut on it. And, of course, it made my nose bleed where it hit. But it didn't. I didn't break my nose. But that, I mean, it was just, again, it was that guy who threw that beer, I'm sure still telling this story to this day to his kids and grandkids or whoever, if he's got them, because that was the perfect throw ever. I'm sure he was just trying to throw it and hit the truck and explode and everything else and gets all over the truck, or hits, something, hits the door and it explodes because our window was down, or at least the driver's side window was down. But it goes through, it doesn't hit my roommate, goes all the way across the driver, again, doing 60 miles an hour at least, and hits me right in the nose. And of course, again, when he sees it explode, he doesn't know it hit. I guess he saw it hit me and explodes. And of course, after that, they were laughing as they took off. But yeah, that was just one of those nights. So, it was incredible. I mean, he couldn't have thrown that same scenario could have happened. He could have had a case of beer to throw at us, and that would have never happened again, going 60 miles an hour down the road. And we just thought, I mean, my roommate and I are still really good friends, and we still laugh about that now to this day, because that was the most incredible throw, and it happened to me. It was just one of those things, though. It was just a perfect throw, and it just happened to hit me right in the face. So anyway, Chris, that's my VR to you. That's my story. I love your videos. I think this is a great idea, and I'll keep them coming to you. See you, buddy. Bye.